dear respected teacher, dear noble Sangha, dear family. We are in our last week, like my brother shared, of the summer retreat. It's the only month where we have children, lots of children come. And the monks and nuns were very grateful for you to bring your family here, to your children. Although we do see it is very challenging for some parents to be here. But it is it's good to be challenged here in the Sangha. So we hope that you find a way to learn to be with your family, with your children, with your partner, with yourself, more compassionately, more kind, as you are a parent, as you are a husband, a wife, a partner, whatever that relationship is, that hopefully you'll stay here, you'll learn to be more kind to yourself. And through that you can be kind to your loved ones. So this is what our hope for the summer retreat. That's all. You know, we summer retreat is a family practice, and so this is the reality of being in life, in the world. And we thank you for having children, because we've chosen the life to have no children, so we get to play with your children. And to give you your children back when they cry. I said, okay, mommy. Yesterday I walk around, and any new baby in the village in Upper Hamlet, I always come and I touch the head of the baby, and I pray the baby will have a nourishing growth. So there was one 6 months only. Sometimes they bring the baby even younger while it's still in the womb. And so I can't do the forehead, so I have to touch my head now. And you can feel the energy of the baby. So this is a beautiful environment that our teacher, Thai, has created. That meditation and mindfulness and the practice is nothing separate from our life, our daily life, including our family, including children crying, including boys running and falling and getting bloody nose, and even boys fighting. So we learn how to deal with that mindfully, kindly and compassionately. So this is the practice. So the practice is not something separate from your family, from your relationship, from your daily life. Some people think that this is practice and then something else. So more and more I see what Thai's vision is to use the practice and to really apply it to our daily life, including the challenges, the suffering, whatever we face in our business, in our work, in the environment that we're in. So this is whatever you're here for. This is very important, to try not to make that distinction. This is my time, this is family time. Yeah? Your family time is your practice. So being with the children, and those who are here who don't have children, please practice with that, because that's our future, our children. So this is a very important element in Plum Village practice. We try our best to apply in every aspect. And don't underestimate the ordinary things. As you see, we only sit maybe 30 minutes in the morning and maybe 30 minutes in the evening. And Thai always asks, well, what happens to the rest of the hour, the 10 hour or the 20 hour outside of the meditation hall? That is a very good question. So sometimes we are interested in meditation and we think it is in the hall or is when we're sitting like this. So please re-envision the practice as, and one I learned most that really stood out for me was washing the dishes. We wash our dish. We eat 3 times and we wash our dishes 3 times. And you know, as a parent, you might think that's a chore, or as anybody, you think it's something to get rid of so you can go have your tea and then do your practice. But Thai is very unique to have a place like this. To have you come here and you do dishes. What can you imagine? One day the monks and nuns asked Thai, we should go get washing machines to wash the dishes quickly, so we have more time to practice. I have a feeling Thai would say, he would smile, right? So why do we have to ask? Why are we asked to wash dishes? Why is there a sanitation team? So in a way, we're making the monastery more kind of like what you have at home. Not, of course, all of it. So in your time when you wash the dishes, we're taught when we're novices to wash it like the baby Buddha, or Jesus, or Allah, or something, your loved one. So we wash our dishes and we enjoy washing our dishes as if it is the most important thing for us to do. So it's not in the meditation hall. That's the easy part. You're away from your children, they have not woken up, and you're... But what's more interesting is you begin to apply the mindfulness practice into the ordinary things. Getting a cup of tea, you don't need to rush. You just get your cup of tea. You wash your dishes, you wash your bowl. You don't need to rush to do it. You breathe in and you take your time. You put a bowl over, you put the dishes, you're pushing the dishes over. You wash the spoon, you put the spoon over. You see the ordinary, it was like, what does this have to do with anything about my life? And this is what I learned from Plum Village from the early start when I came here. It was very challenging because in my mind I thought it was something to get rid of, to finish, and then go do the, the real thing, whatever it's work or practice. And so it's a real challenge to wash your dishes. So this is something I want to just offer to you to use this week to retrain yourself, or to train yourself to wash the dishes and your bowl and your spoon in mindfulness and relaxation. I mean, don't do it like you're practicing, that the whole line is looking at you. Be ordinary, don't stick out, okay? Just do it, smile, enjoy. The baby Buddha can... So just don't overdo it, okay? Don't over-practice. But do it at a leisurely pace. Mainly is to enjoy it. Don't rush it. So that's one habit that I learned in my early day, first coming here to Plum Village. And I also invite you, for those who are new here, or those who have been here before even, to look at this week as a week for you to train a new habit. Okay? So you have a few days here, maybe 5-6 days. So it's enough time. And it could be walking, it could be washing the dishes, it could be opening the door mindfully. Right? It could be sitting, whatever that is, sitting still. But besides sitting still, look at the other parts outside of the meditation hall. So So use this week to recognize that. Maybe something you like to be alone. It's a habit you have. You're afraid of people, or you don't like crowds. It might be for you to sit near the tea house and just enjoy people. You see the new habit? So look at this week to see if there's a habit you recognize that you like to cultivate. And this is the mindfulness practice. It is not separate from whatever it is you recognize. So this is something Thay's vision for bringing meditation in engage applied meditation. So this is something I'd like to invite all of you. For this week, we will be exploring 3 elements that are very important in the Buddhist practice. They call them virtue or powers. And it is very, very important aspect, like spiritual power. And these 3 aspects are very, this is how we qualify or we see the character of a spiritual person, like a monk or nun or a teacher or a spiritual teacher, or in society a leader, a member who, people who are looked up to. So these are the elements we call virtue, character, or in Buddhist term we can call them like the power. And there's 3 elements that help us. In Buddhism, we don't look like power. When you think of power, normally people think of wealth, fame, right? Or political power. These kind of like you're in control of some other element below you. But in the spiritual training, we look at in terms of compassion. Okay, ơn đức. Ơn is like a compassion, love, and đức is a kind of virtue or power. So that's the first kind of thing one of the element we'll explore this week. And the other is wisdom, or understanding, or insight. You see the qualities that make a spiritual person? They use these 3 to kind of praise the Buddha and the Bodhisattva. So compassion, wisdom, or understanding and insight, right? Tri đức. These are the 3 things that help you gauge yourself. And the third one we'll explore today is called đoạn đức, and that is the power, or the virtue of, I would say, cutting through. I remember Thai when he first introduced it, his hand went like this. You cut through. It's quite powerful, huh? Another word, letting go. And what that virtue is your freedom. You see, so you qualify a spiritual practitioner by the amount of compassion they have, the amount of wisdom they have, and the amount of freedom. I mean, imagine this is the leader of our nation. You look and you're like, wow, so wise, so compassionate, yeah? So free. Wow, what a president. Yeah? And so if you're a part of any organization, if you're a leader, please reflect on yourself. What kind of power do you use? Is it based on fear? Is it based on politics, your status, where you're at? So these are the typical power that we learn in school, in politics, in history, right? But as you are on a spiritual journey now, these 3 qualities is what really makes or breaks, right? They say in America, it's what makes you or breaks you. You don't, and you are seeing that now in society. the kind of freedom people really have, the kind of power. So it looks like they have a lot of power, but in the end, somehow the power became a temptation, and it becomes a big scandal or a big break. So these are things we have to be aware of. So I'll use the board and I'll write for you. So the first one is, we say, Ân Đức. I'll write in Vietnamese, right? It's compassion. And these are the 3 virtues or power. Trí đức. And then today we'll explore Đoạn đức. This is cutting through. Or we can say freedom. In the Buddhist practice, in normal life, we think accumulation is what we learn is accumulating knowledge, accumulating things, and that's like what we are taught, right? In school, to learn more. In life, work, so you can have more. In the spiritual practice is to release, is to eliminate more. It's not to accumulate more. We even accumulate views. In Buddhism, you remove views. You see it's a very interesting thing. So if you're on the practice and you're starting to accumulate a lot of things, oh, Plum Village, I know them now. I get it. Oh, I understand everything about Thay's teaching now. Be careful when you're on the line of becoming very dogmatic. So you learn, it helps you, and you let go. So the Buddhist practice is like medicine. It helps us, it frees us, and then you don't go holding on to it. So this is the freedom of cutting off. And what are we cutting off? Mainly the 3 afflictions. The first one is our craving. That's just a big term for maybe you say craving. Oh, you know, what's so harmful about craving for chocolate? It's okay, you know. But there's other subtle. It represents a whole class, and there are 3 classes that are huge in Buddhist practice. And I think you know this one is tham, right, in Vietnamese. And then there's sung, craving, and this will be our anger, craving, hatred. You can say anger, sounds more close to us. And then our ignorance. Our wrong views. Someone who craving might be too much for you. Maybe you don't have craving, but you have attachment. So anything to do in this category involves grabbing. It could be chocolate, it could be views, it could be greed. I notice in Upper Hamlet, it's very subtle, huh? And this is where mindfulness practice can help you see stuff. The brothers this season, just this summer retreat, for the summer retreat, we bought new yellow chairs. They're really good, high quality yellow chairs. And so all of a sudden they appear, and they don't look like all the other chairs. There's the white one, which is like 20 years old. There's the green one, which is about 10 years old. And then there's the black one, which is about 5 years old. And then people know, the yellow chair. And then, there's some people who are very, before, their family gather for dinner, they make sure they get all the yellow chairs. Or at least some of them. Just put some green ones so it doesn't look like you're so greedy. I know that's probably there's a wrong perception, but just in case that's happening with you, that's in the category of craving, you see? It's very subtle, huh? But this is, these things they don't cause suffering much, right? Just little thing, chocolate, But if you're careful, you'll see the subtlety of it. Sometimes we're a little stingy. Pride is also a kind of craving. You don't want to admit it. You don't want to let them know, so you hold on to it. You see? You don't want to apologize. You don't want, no big deal. See? It's very subtle. So craving, it sounds like, but there's also stronger ones, like urges, addictions. These we're entering into mental illness, obsession, neurosis. What is it? The attention. This, kind of like. So it's a kind of. It becomes a little bit more. Most obvious is was it sexual craving or lust? This is a huge problem right now, and it's wonderful that the people, the society is waking up to that. A lot of people in power, very easily tempted to abuse that power. And our craving is the most primal kind of energy that will tempt us. And this, as you see in the news in the last year, is really for the good. It's a kind of beginning anew for our society to look at the kind of structure we have and the type of what we allow. And this is not to blame anyone. We are involved as well. We have created a society where we water the seed of craving a lot, of lust, and so on. And so these are victims. People are in place of power, that they don't have the spiritual power of letting go of true freedom. It looks like they have power, but there's something eroding. So this is a good way to understand where this fits in as a spiritual characteristic of a person, of someone who's on the spiritual path. In Buddhist practice, when we say cutting off, there's also a practice of equanimity, of staying mere awareness. Is a quality of love. So these things kind of overlap. So cutting off is a kind of freedom of just watching and recognizing things as they are. So this is a hard practice because we're usually in a place, and for parents, this is very interesting because you're in a position where you do have some relationship to your children, to your family. So you do have a little bit of that. But as you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And so this one's for parents. You can practice this. Also equanimity, being aware. And we've developed that. We call it non-parenting. Or you have a relationship with your partner, like maybe a couple, or a father with the son, a mother with a daughter. And we learn to be free from that as well. So learning to cut and be free from that. Because you see, you do the mother thing with your child a lot. There's a kind of suffering that you produce for yourself and for the others. I don't know if that is very clear, but it's also a habit. The things that we have, these kind of like make us lose our freedom. So we have we identify with something, we identify that we're in a position, you see, and therefore we feel like we have some kind of power over something. And this is, for me, this is where you have to play with it a little bit. You have to not be the parent, or not be the boss. So this is a kind of letting go of cutting off that relationship. Normally, when we in society, we run after wealth, power, fame, sex. These things are related to power. And if we don't, use the trainings, the mindfulness training, to really examine what these elements are, they all have a hook. So this is the part here. Thầy would remind us that, or in the sutra, the temptation, like to have wealth, is perpetual. It never ends. There's a hook to it, and you lose your freedom that way. And then same thing with sex. The pleasure is short, but it can become overwhelming, or sometimes lead to even perversion. So this is we must remember this. In our society, we don't teach this. We don't teach the danger of these the money, wealth. Normally we praise that. We put it on the high ground. And this is the kind of society that I grew up with. And only through the mindfulness practice, through stopping and looking at the reality of what this is doing to me, making me lose my freedom. And that was a kind of a awakening, or wake-up call for me to re-examine my life. As a young person, I remember thinking because it's very difficult to let go. And I remember having thoughts like, God, I wish I never met Thai, or the practice. Anybody ever have that thought? Yeah? I was like, God, my life was so fine until now I have to look at everything and re-examine everything. And this is a challenge. Maybe you might want to choose, go somewhere else. Because this will you have to look at things that you might not want to look at. And the power of cutting off also includes our views. Our views about ourselves, our views about happiness. There's a story in the sutra of a monk who is in the forest. He's sitting meditation, and he somehow got a little excited and doing his meditation, and he yelled out. I think some of you know this story. I love this story. He's just like, oh wow, oh my happiness. He's so happy. And so the way he yelled it disturbed all the other monks. And so they thought he went kind of maybe local or something strange, because he yelled it too loud or something. And so they reported it to the Buddha, and then they came and talked to the Buddha, and they found out later that he was actually a very wealthy man before he became a monk. He was like a real good business person. He had, mansions and so on, probably a nice car, 2 or 3 nice cars, and a garage with security, camera, I'm skipping time, just in case it relates to you. Yeah. And he was, when he became a monk, he released all that. He no longer owned a house, a car, and all these things. And he didn't own a bank account. He didn't own a credit card. He didn't have to go to the ATM every month, pay a check to his bank. And he, oh my gosh, what happiness. I know that sounds very strange, but this is a lot of us who choose the path of a monastic life. We thought, owning a lot of things, especially a bank account, was a great happiness, especially every month when the numbers get higher. Yeah, that's the way you're taught, right? And so the power of letting go, the happiness from letting go. Please don't do that if you have a family. Please do, please look at your condition. So don't let go all your cows. I would say is releasing cows, right? So you have to look at what kind of cows you have. The physical cow is, do you really need all that? Do you need another car? Do you need so on? So this is the practice to help us look deeply and how simple our life is. Because sometimes those things, we have idea that they make our life better, but it actually takes away our time, our quality time with our family, with ourselves. So please re-examine. And releasing cow also is not just the material things, it's also our views, our ideas, which is very important. Our ideas about ourselves. This is a challenge as we practice. We identify ourselves as a certain way, and we hang on to that, we cling to that. And that might even be a meditator or a spiritual traveler, right? So these kind of things are like traps. So the power of stopping and looking at ourselves, if you're still enough, you can begin to see the little subtleties of what you view yourself, you brand yourself, you box yourself in. And this is is preventing you. It's an obstacle to your freedom. We also have views about other people, our father, our mother, our loved ones, our brothers and sisters, and they become an obstacle because we're not able to let them go. So the practice is to recognize, to calm, to look deeply, and to let go. You know the 16 exercises the Thai teaches often? The last 4 involves letting go. Not that it's like accumulative, right? But it is very important. One is non-desire and one is letting go. And so when we begin to look at ourselves and look at the nature reality, the things that we're attached to, we want to protect, you know, this is a tendency we have. And things that we don't want, things that we don't have, we crave for. And things we have, we are insecure about. So identify these things, because they will relate to your freedom. I'll tell you another funny story in the monastic area. One Christmas, all the brothers got cups. I like to tell this one because it's still happening. And they have our names on them. You know those cups that we drink, these cups? You know, they don't have a identifier. They didn't have any markings when I was first here. Thai just has them, and they're all the same. You know, and then this one says Bao Yung on it. But some sister learned how to engrave, or some brothers, and they engraved our name on them, on these cups. Before, you know, the brothers, whoever had the cup in the rooms, okay, you take it and you go in another room, it's fine, and it just goes around. And eventually it all equals out. But as someone, for one Christmas, gave each brother a cup with our name on it. You know, so now you go into other rooms and you kind of see, oh, that's my name on it. You know, and then before, no problem, right? You know, but now it has my name on it. And I was like, how did I get here? It should be in my room. You know, same thing with the chair, you know. So it's very interesting. You see identity, yourself, yeah? I am Bob. I am Michelle. You say something about Michelle that I don't like, I get hurt. So this is, our views are very interesting. And if you're on the path, this is all fun, okay? So don't make it too serious. Another view we have that we won't let go is our suffering. Where some of us might be in the habit of making ourselves suffer or watering that seed. So we have to be careful that some of us, we tend to want to be there, or we can't handle a month without drama. So it could be a habit of yours. So how to be still, how to be not be too disturbed. This is cutting off. Why do I have the habit of always being involved in some kind of drama? Every month it's a new object. This month is this person, next month is that situation. So this is the practice of cutting off. Cutting off our habits, our views, our things, letting go. And the more we let go, the more freedom we have, and that is the power of Dong Đức. You understand why that is valued? It's your freedom. And in Buddhism, that is very high. It's not about whether you're happy, joyful, or is freedom and peace. Are you able to be in the front of suffering, to be free? And then you are able and be in a position to help. If you're not a free person, you will be pulled in and the drama, and you lose your stability. That's why freedom and equanimity is pretty high up there, much more than happiness, I would say. Is you go to joy, happiness, and then there's peace. Peace in front of happiness or suffering, there's compassion. You see? So don't just look for, oh, I'm happy or I'm suffering. Oh, I'm happy, I'm suffering. It's there, those are the elements. But look also, okay, I am suffering. Can I be at peace with it? Can I be calm? Can I be free in the face of suffering? Your child is crying. Don't let that suck you in. Just, Then you're able to help your child. Or else you will just perpetuate, that relationship. This is an observation. So we need to learn how to be with each other, to actually offer a kind of freedom, a kind of fearlessness in front of suffering, in front of obstacles and things. So the power of cutting off is an element that we can cultivate. And we cultivate that with the present moment of mere awareness first. So you stay still, you train yourself to breathe in the front of a craving, in front of a things, a habit. You just breathe, and you watch, and you slowly train in that, to calm, and then you look at it. So that's the power of letting go. Sort of like a tree or a nice haircut. Next topic I share with you that might be helpful for you to, as you practice, is two element we call in Vietnamese they call it chánh báo, which is kind of like your they say your nature, or more technical is the our main retribution. These are technical, but I'll explain that it is it's basically your body and mind. It's your individual. Your 5 skandhas. It's what your parents, your ancestors have given you. You're giving you this life, this body, this mind, and you're a particular way. Whether you like it or not, you're very similar to your mother and your father. Some of us don't want to admit it, but slowly as you get older, you probably recognize it. Yesterday in our lunchtime, we introduced ourselves, and each one had to say one habit that we have of our mother and one habit that we have of our father. And then the person that went first, he listed a few. I only asked one, but you get excited and you... And so this is the kind of things, so they've only not as given us their genes, their 2 chromosomes each, right? But they've also given us a little bit of their character. Like I shared that I have a quality of my mother being very like social. She will meet strangers and we would be so embarrassed. Like we would walk anywhere and my mother would like just make friends with anybody, and as kids we were like, God, Mom. It would embarrass us as children, you know, because she has that ability to treat everyone kind of like best friends, you know. And it's like, God, no, not here, no. And I recognize I kind of I do that especially with babies. I think everybody's baby is mine, you know. I take them, and the mother is like, you know, and I put them on the tree, and and Mom was like, oh no. She's afraid to say something because maybe I'm a monk or something. Not my baby. So I have that quality of my mother. And my father, I have his creativity. Well, sort of my father. But this is something that is very helpful in my practice. Because sometimes now when I cook, or when I do something, like I sew my clothing, I think of my grandma. And she's in me, yeah? And it's wonderful. So you begin to do things with this in mind. This is you're continuing on them. There's another aspect you call Bao. And this is kind of in, I guess in science they call nurture, right? Our environment. This is the environment as retribution. And so the tree, the vision of the tree is very helpful for us. We are each like a living organism, and we're interacting with the environment. We're a particular kind of tree. We could be a pear, an apple, but each one of us is interacting. So this is a wonderful way to see ourselves as a kind of a interacting system. And one way we interact with the world is through our thoughts. You know, like maybe our speech and our bodily action. And this helps us become more aware when we say practicing mindfulness is not just doing things mindfully, but also we become mindful of our speech, mindful of our listening, mindful listening. You see how the words coming in affect us. So these are ways that we interact, we continue ourselves. Our speech could be like leaves, action, more fruit. So this is what we give out, right? And the environment is what is affecting us. And the environment here, how we get nourished, we can help us remember, is the 4 nutriments. Edible foods. I won't go over this in detail, but just for you to sense impression. Our volition and our consciousness. So this is kind of like our output, how we interact, how we affect, how we continue ourselves. I think one of the gathas be to reflect on about old age, sickness, and death. That the only thing you can, that will continue you when you die is these energies. So it's very helpful to begin to see your practice as these things is what you give out. Your action is very obvious, right? Your speech, but also your thought as an energy. And I think that's as you practice more, and especially watch that in Dharma discussion this week. This is happening a lot in Dharma discussion, how you listen and what you talk about. While you're listening, there are thoughts triggering. So this is a way we interact and give out output. And these things are the things that input the energy, the things we eat, the drink, the things we watch, hear, and think, see on the news, internet, and so on. Our volition, our spiritual, it's like our will, our desire, and then consciousness, which is kind of an individual. There's the individual consciousness. I hope this is not. This is quite. I don't know. It's okay for first day. And then our collective. So our individual consciousness and our collective consciousness. So this is a way we can begin to be more mindful. When you practice mindfulness, this is what you're being mindful of. What's happening inside and what's happening around you. So this is a way to look at it. Is something upsetting in the stomach? What did I eat today? Right? Something restless in my body? What have I been paying attention with in my thought? You see, so this is a way to study yourself, to deep look. Deep looking, this is what you're looking at. Output, input. So when you're mindful, so the practice of mindfulness help us come back to the present moment while we're walking, while we're washing the dishes, and in each moment, if we can maintain the concentration, we can be aware of what is happening in the present moment. So it's very crucial that it's established on the present moment. So I'm washing dishes. And then you recognize a family come with the children. And then a thought comes up, like, something bothered you, you know? Yeah, you recognize, okay, and you come back to the dishes, right? You move over. Because you're present, you're aware of what's happening within you and without you. So this is a way of looking. Another way of describing the relationship is this is our individual, and this is the environment. And there's a relationship. So we have to be aware of that, especially if we're moving from environment. Here you come to Plum Village, the environment here is different, and you have to know how it affects you. And I think you know how it affects you. Some of you arrived the other day. How many of you felt something changing in your consciousness? You know, like all of a sudden, yeah? When I go on tour with the brothers and the sisters, and I come back to Plum Village, that is the first thing I recognize. Yeah? So much stimulation outside. And you have to be aware of this. Not that we need to run away from the city and the stimulation, but we need to train ourselves to recognize this interaction with the environment and how it affects us. So that's mindfulness. You're aware of what is happening in your surrounding. And so we're aware of so you're aware of yourself, your 5 skandhas, your body, your feelings, your perception, your mental formation, your consciousness. If you're a practitioner, this is your training to always keep this in mind. How's my body doing? How's my feelings? How's my emotions, right? How am I perceiving things? Am I having mental formations? What kind of mental formations am I having? Am I angry? Am I resentful? Am I holding a grudge? Am I irritable right now? Am I angry? So you begin to, I think many of you are doing that. And there's another person here. So the individual and the environment is very linked. So person A, person B, they share the same environment. But they also have their own nature, right? Their own individual retribution, right? They each are their own self, and they're also each other's environment. So at one time we're ourselves, and we are also other people's environment. And this is very important to know. That's why we encourage so many people to build sangha, to build community. It's very important to have someone walking mindfully and enjoying mindfully, or eating silently in the morning breakfast, and you're eating breakfast and you see the other person with their family eating, that becomes your nourishment. And so in a way we are helping each other as a collective to create an environment that actually waters and nourishes all the good. So we each have a responsibility to take care of ourselves and our practice. And when we do that, and we're enjoying it and happy with it, at peace, calm, non-reactive, we are also affecting the other people. That's very obvious, right? So as a person, maybe in the media or in a position to create environment, maybe you're a head of a company, please look at that. Be how to set up your environment so that it is nourishing for everyone. So this is a kind of, if you're in that position, please be aware of that. In our society now, there's we don't pay attention to that enough. I think we value freedom too much, in terms of freedom to, especially freedom of expression, freedom in media, in movies, and the internet, and so on. So these kind of, it creates an environment that is watering maybe the wrong seeds. Recently I was on the internet and I was looking for how to fix a telescope because it was broken in our storage, and I went onto internet to see how to fix it, to realign it, because there was a blood moon a couple of days. So I was fixing it, and I went to internet to figure out, and then they actually had a video of someone fixing that same telescope and how to realign. And then the day afterwards, I went online, and I think you know this already, but it was really scary. Like, I started seeing all kinds of telescope advertisement. Everywhere I tried like duck, is it duck? Another web browser. And everywhere it was like telescope, and I was like, wow. I mean, I heard about it, but this is the first time it happened to me. And it's quite, luckily, I didn't have any money, I don't have a credit card, so I'm a little bit more protected. So we need to look at this for our children especially, and our schools. And if you're in media, please really look at this. When we write an article, what are we creating? So this is very important, that we know our purpose. What is the most important thing? What Thai would call our ultimate concern, our freedom, our compassion, our wisdom, our kindness. So we write, we create an environment where these seeds are watered. This is all it is. We don't need to, get enlightened or whatever, but as a collective, we all can contribute to creating an environment like this, where we can take care of our suffering. We have time to be and learn how to suffer and be with our suffering and not run away from our suffering. So this is a task, but mostly our society now, it's watering our greed, right? Our want, our desire. And so as Plum Village, you come here, you feel that. Here, we don't water much of your seed of competition. Well, last week we had a soccer game, World Cup. We were quite rooting for the French. So that was like a rare moment of actually choosing a side just for fun. We watched it, and the kids like, But most of the thing we try to keep it so that you can take a break from that, right? And there's not a lot of violent and hurtful things here. So you take a break, and we create an environment for you to not be distracted. I see that's Thai's main intention. A lazy day is for you to be with yourself and to be with your family, to be with your loved ones. It's not to be distracted. As we envision Plum Village, maybe growing, maybe needing more rooms and more places, Every year we have to turn down so many families because they cannot come because we no more room, and we have to put a limit because of our system we have. But as we grow, how do we want to grow Plum Village? Should we have a swimming pool with slides? Maybe one of those rides and you go fast and get excited, and then maybe a shooting range, entertainment, a vacation place. Do you see this as your vacation to go do that? We don't have anything for you to do here. Just sit around and look at the flowers, right? Wash your dishes, lay on the grass. If you're lucky, you have a hammock. Yeah? So this is not an attraction place. This place is not here to get you to do something, but it's here for you to learn how to be just alive. That tree doesn't need to be more than the tree. A tree just needs to be a tree. But our society asks us to always be more, right? Can we just be human? Can we just be who we are, where we're at? This is a question for ourselves as we set up our society. And I know this is, some of you are thinking, well, it's great for you. You live in Plum Village. Some people have said that to me. But we need to help. We need to create a sangha. We need to go back and practice so that we have that kind of freedom. That we can be a refuge for other people and create a little community environment where, as a collective, we know what is important. So this is, for me, the most noble thing to do, for us to practice, to transform ourselves, and then help other people, gather people. So we hope you have a wonderful week. Please don't be more kind to yourself. Don't demand yourself too much. Just take it easy. You're on this path for, just see it as there's more to, take your time. So please don't be too harsh on yourself. Some of you come here with certain pain, certain suffering. Learn to be with it. Learn another way to be with it. Be more gentle with yourself. Learn to love yourself. Some of us, we try too hard from the way we were raised, from our family, from our society. And that can sometimes come into the practice. So please, if you need to, find a place and sit with yourself. Find a spot in the forest. Learn to be with yourself, to be with your suffering as one aspect. And the other aspect, also nourish yourself with joy. This is the secret. It's not all suffering. It's not all about suffering. And suffering is not enough. There's more to life. You're alive. You have healthy lungs. You're breathing. Your eyes are in good condition. So we also train to change the habit to not look for the big happiness or the enlightenment or these great kind of big things, but simply my eyes are in good condition. I have the time to wash dishes. Yeah, some people don't have time, huh? That's what it means. Huh? You have the time to take a walk slowly in the forest. So look at the ordinary things the simple things that you've forgotten. So this is a new habit. Thai has a poem about we have a diamond in our pocket, but we don't know. And we think we are very poor and always running and always in need. But we are the richest person on earth, and we don't know. And that's what it means. It means you're alive. You can see the moon at night. You see the stars. So please make the time for that, to nourish yourself with nature, with your breath, with stillness, with quiet. And this will give you the energy to be with the pain, be with your challenges. So we hope you have success and put your whole heart into the practice. Thank you.